Welcome back to another video. I'm going to be discussing, the title kind of explains it, but if you know me personally, I'm very against the year 2022. I've expressed so much how this year's just sucked and I hate it, but that was for my own personal reasons. I've expressed my personal frustrations with this year, things that were going on in my life, but I, it after doing a little bit of thinking, I realized that this year just sucks in general. It's not just me. I'm not alone. Well, maybe with the personal problems, I'm alone, but I'm the world is suffering this year. It wasn't just 2020 and 2021 when COVID was at its worst. No, 2022 has its own unique problems, and that I would argue are a lot worse than 2020 and 2021. I mean, we're not really hiding in our houses anymore like we were then, but when I list off everything, you'll understand. All right. So I think one of the biggest and most obvious disasters of 2022 is Russia and the Russians invading Ukraine. Certainly, it's no World War II when it comes to number of fatalities, but over 100. But think about it. With World War II, so there were about 45 million fatalities, but that was the whole world. With, with the when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was over 100,000 deaths, and that was just from people living in Ukraine. So imagine if they were invading every country, how many fatalities they'd be. Yeah, so 100,000 at least innocent Ukrainians dead. Um, and there was another major natural disaster, not natural disaster. My apologies. Another major attack in Yemen. Many airstrikes that killed over 300 people. That that um, there were attacks on social gatherings, people's homes, also on a boat, I believe. Several different businesses. Um, yeah, and ultimately ended up killing over 300 people. Um, Now, COVID may not be as likely to kill you as it was in 2021 and 2020, but it's far more contagious now here in 2022. And the long COVID, it doesn't, even if you have a mild or asymptomatic case of COVID, you can still very likely get long COVID. And as of 2022, 7% of Americans have developed long COVID, 7% of people in the United States, and that was recorded in 2022 because it's just so damn contagious now. You thought it was contagious a year or two ago, that's nothing compared to now. Even I caught it, and I'm really careful. I caught it in August 2022. But enough talking about me. I don't want this video to be biased. I'm just sticking to the facts. Um, so yeah, a lot of people are unable to work now because they got long COVID. Because it's just so damn contagious now with all these Omicron variants. Um, there was another major school shooting, one of the biggest school shootings in history. I don't remember the name of the offender, but he went into Robb Elementary School and killed 21 people, 19 students, and two teachers, and 17 other people were severely injured, severely to critically injured. Um, so not quite as many people died with this one as the Sandy Hook shooting, but overall there were more injuries. And this guy shot his own grandmother before even going to the school. I don't know if she passed away or not. Climate change. uh, So carbon emissions from fossil fuels, they've hit a record high in 2022, meaning major climate change. much more heat. The sea levels are have been rising dramatically, and the air quality has been getting much worse. Which is all very dangerous. Sea levels rising, you can drown. Buildings destroyed. Worse air quality, not good for your breathing. Worse heat, you can get heat stroke. Yeah, and studies are showing every year it gets worse. 2022 is at a record high in that category. Now here's one that is a lot of people that are pissing off a lot of people right now. It's not just gas prices, the prices for everything, groceries, items, any like groceries, furniture, TVs, whatever, have all skyrocketed this year. Like from 2021 to 2022, everyone's noticed how much the prices of everything has risen. Um, like the economy is doing terrible this year. Like I've been paying attention to some things I buy. Like there's this little thing. I don't know if you guys know of those little like things of Chips Ahoy that come in a little plastic container. Well, in December 2021, it was 109. Now it's 189. Uh, and it went up 20 cents in 48 hours. It went from one it just shot from 169 to 189. And just the other groceries in the store, like my God, compared to a year ago, it is just so they've gone up like $7, $6 or $7. Um, and the gas reached a record high. It was like $5 a gallon at in like July of this year. Um, there Now you thought COVID was bad. At least it was only one germ going around, and because everybody was masking up and isolating, other viruses were pretty much non-existent at the time, like the flu and other respiratory illnesses, like colds. Um, well, yeah, now that everything's opened back up and everybody feels that it's safe to not wear masks anymore, which I don't blame them because they were sick of it. There's now three viruses circulating this winter that have started at sometime around in October. COVID still spreading like wildfire. The flu is reaching record high levels. And RSV, which originally only got children sick, but is now making adults sick too. So you got three viruses all spreading like wildfire. It's going to be a bad winter in terms of illnesses. It's already been, these past couple months have already been bad in terms of illnesses, and it's only going to get worse going into 2023 after Christmas. Um, some major natural disasters. The biggest one is obviously the Pakistan floods, which ended up, the fatalities were 100, or excuse me, not 100, 1,739 deaths, which is a major amount for just a single natural disaster. And second being the earthquake in Afghanistan, 1,036 deaths. Um, the Nigeria floods was under 1,000 at 612 deaths, but still a major amount just for one disaster. Um, this has hit home too. Like it's a big problem on the Cape where I live. I've noticed starting in 2022, like every body of water has started to become contaminated. In 2022, studies have revealed that 83% of the natural fresh water in the United States is contaminated with like permanent contamination, forever chemicals, they like to call it. Um, and that's so sad. Like swimming and like yeah, you can't swim in all these like rivers or ponds anymore. Um, and less available clean water just for people to drink. Um, all right. So this started like they started putting this like on they this started taking place at the end of 2021, but it didn't become like effective until the beginning of 2022. They pressed a vaccine mandate that like if you basically either you get vaccinated or uh, I think both doses, unless you're getting the J&J. It's either you get vaccinated or you lose your job. And it was set into effect on January 4th of 2022. So if you didn't get that shot by January 4th of 2022, you were going to lose your job. Despite the fact that you may have an allergy to the vaccine, you may have had a bad reaction to the vaccine in the past, because it's not 100% safe like they claim it is. Not to sound, not to get into personal matters again, but I myself had a very bad reaction to the booster. So, and they weren't using that as excuses. They just kept calling people anti-vaxxers, when in reality there could be some potential dangers with it. And they measured the risks and benefits, and for them personally, it was riskier to get it than to not get it. There's other prevention methods, masks, washing your hands, distancing. Um, all right. Now, 2022 didn't make the list for the number one deadliest year for mass shootings, but it's a very close second. 2021 was the deadliest, but 2022 is a very close second for record number of deadly mass shootings in the United States, in United States history, at least since they started recording it. So that's depressing. And last but not least, this isn't really like a this last category isn't really like a serious matter. It's just more like a general disappointing matter. Um, Movies and music downright sucked this year. There was only one theatrical release that I enjoyed of all of 2022, and that was Jackass Forever. Now with 2020 and 2021, there weren't that many good releases either, especially 2020 because of the COVID lockdown. So you have to give those 2 years a break. Like almost all of 2020 and up until like May of 2021, you couldn't go to the theaters. So obviously they weren't going to be releasing anything. Uh, and even though it was only open for 7 months, from like May to December in 2021, there were still more theatrical releases in 2021 that I liked compared to 2022. 2022, the theater was open all year, and there was only one theatrical release that I enjoyed. The rest I couldn't give a shit about. Uh, and music, they just released a top 100 um, for 2022. Um, there were only 3 songs on that frickin' list that I could even tolerate. Um, and I've been listening to like all the top 100s of the 21st century, so going from two down to 2000 to 2022, all 2000 to 2021 all had way more songs that I enjoyed. And when I swear to God, I don't turn on my radio anymore because every time I do, I hear that goddamn Bieber shit, and I want to pound my fist through it. Um, so yeah, um, so those are reasons why 2022 is like at the bottom barrel when it comes to like years, at least for the 21st century. I didn't live through I didn't live through anything before 1997, but looking at the facts, I really don't think there's a year, at least this, for like the past 100 years. All right, since World War II, there has not been a year worse than 2022. I can rest assured that fact at least. Um, yeah. So what'll 2023 be like? Uh, I'm afraid to find out. But yeah, just that's I'm just not only expressing my opinions, but I'm expressing the facts. So you can't deny the facts. Thanks for watching.